You're all set?
Yep.
Okay. This is the Norwich Airport Advisory Committee meeting. Let's, for the record, go around the room and you just say who you are. That would be good. Start with you, Bill.
Okay, Bill Drury. Bill Newsom.
I'm Charlie Laverdier.
And Morgan.
Richard LaBelle.
All right. First item on the agenda is review of the November 17th minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes. Are there any?
Yeah, I didn't have anything to add to it.
Are there any corrections, additions, subtractions, multiplications? If there aren't any, entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? It's a vote. All right. Financial information for the advisory committee. Richard, is that you?
Sure is. What we've tried to do, obviously, we've had some hiccups in getting this migrated over to a form that kind of makes sense to you. It's still not 100%, but it's a lot better than where we were. So you've got a 3-pager, which is at the top left says Norwich 2025. This gives you your year-to-date revenue and expenses, which show your revenues as 196,747. Your expenses are 215,496, which is a gap of 18,748. What we can't see there really, if you expand everything out, is that we got 2 late loads of fuel. So just as the books were closing out in December, we took in almost $15,000 in 91, and then in November we took in $11,000 of 100. So if you factor that out, yeah, we did sell some of that in the calendar year. The vast majority of that expense or the good will be sold this year, so there's a little skew, and it's one of those things that you'll never catch completely. The other thing was that we had the gate replacement for $5,700, and that was reimbursed less $1,000 from insurance. So that puts you in quite a bit better position as you look on the total picture. And then there's just a single sheet in the top left. It should just be a standalone, and it's a short expense. We've only paid 1 month's worth of bills, and so that has your expenses at 10,791. And your revenue from the first month is 10,083. So we are pretty near break even with that. What you will have is a little bit of runway rental revenue that pending, and that should put you about break even. Not perfect, but certainly far better than where we were at this time last year, prior to your rate increase that was approved mid-year. I think if everyone keeps trending and shaping up pretty well.
Yeah, that should be the initial goal, is to break even and then see if we can improve on it. That's good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Like that. Thank you.
Okay, any questions on the financials?
No, I'm glad to have them, and it makes sense now.
All right, moving on to potential aircraft mechanics interested in setting up shop at Oval.
So I had the initial phone call with the guy, and then Glenn took over, and I haven't had an update from him. I thought we were going to invite the guy to a meeting.
We did. We invited him to a meeting. We set it up. Ken was there. I was there. Don was there. And he never showed.
Really?
Right.
Boy, this guy was all hot and trot when I talked to him.
And last I knew, I think, Ken, was it you that mentioned that you had talked to the guy that morning? No, somebody had talked to them that morning.
What?
Was it Glenn?
Right, did you say Glenn?
Yeah, it might have been Glenn. Yeah, I think it was. Glenn talked to them that morning. Just reminded him about the meeting, so
Right,
I don't know whether he forgot it or got busy or just doesn't have any interest, but,
well. He should have called us or something.
so I don't know where that stands, other than the fact that we haven't heard from him. And we're still open to meeting with him and talking with him anytime that, he wants to, but I think the ball at this point is in his court.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. If he's interested. He responded to the ad and wanted info from us, so. It's kind of surprising that he wouldn't even show up to meet.
Well, it's possible that he had dates mixed up, or possible that something happened, I don't know, but I think we stayed for what, half an hour? No one showed. All right, opportunity for Young Eagle flights at Norwich. I don't know who that is.
Great idea.
There's somebody that asked that that be placed on the agenda. And we used to do that, when the when the EAA chapter was active at Norwich, we did a lot of, I flew a lot of Young Eagles. I know Ken did too, which I know a bunch of people did. But when the EAA chapter moved, I don't think we had many. I still do. I mean, I do probably 3 or 4 a year, but I don't know if other people do.
Don said that he was working on somebody else. I don't know if there's somebody else's, but that Don had not heard anything back yet.
Okay.
I think he thought maybe somebody else would have information. But didn't say.
All right. Lease responsibilities for our hangar owners.
Seriously. What I went through went through there and highlighted all the things that are the. Lessee's responsibilities that we're concerned about. And those, that lease refers continually to a set of rules and regulations. Do we have that?
The hangar and acre construction requirements.
Just it incorporates the set of rules and regulations or rules. And it has something to do with the apron outside the hangar, but it doesn't really say much more.
Yes. The hangar and apron construction requirements. That's old document. It describes what you're supposed to have for exterior colors and things like that now, I believe.
Do we need to include that?
But there also doesn't explain the responsibilities for the area around your hangar that you're responsible for. But you're responsible for the upkeep of.
Yes. Yes.
So it'd be a good idea to dig out a copy of those rules and figure out what's in there that we want to emphasize. And I think
the highlight is area of concern.
no, the highlighted portion are affirmative obligations of the people who lease the hangars.
Okay.
So you can flip through there and decide which ones you think are important and which are not important. And I just wanted to point out that they incorporate a separate set of rules and regulations that I have never seen.
All right, I will get that document. Can't get it today.
All right, we'll, do we want to have any discussion, or do we want to put off discussion until we get a hold of that other piece of?
I'd say let's wait. We have another piece of paper because I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
then.
committee revised this in June of 2023.
Okay, well, we'll wait until we get that document before we go any further. Courtesy car. I don't know where we are on the infamous courtesy car.
The infamous courtesy car. Glenn punted to me because we couldn't get. The big question is insurance. If you can get a free car, you get a cheap car, then the ongoing costs, insurance and maintenance. maybe we could tinker on the in-house, but insurance we can't. So our primary provider, maybe municipal will not touch this. And then I've reached out to Kai's, I've reached out to Clark. I've reached out to Progressive, and everybody says go somewhere else. Nobody has any interest, in what they call monoline auto with multiple drivers. It becomes far more difficult policy. And so I thought somebody that could offer, commercial insurance or something like that might be willing to look at it, but.
I mean-
they won't. And it sounds like maybe some folks are self-insuring when they're looking at that. I'm not, well, I don't know. I don't know where you're finding a policy like that.
Yeah,
But every other airport, I shouldn't say every, but a lot have company cars, so they can address this. I mean. Somebody's already figured out how to the workaround.
So I thought, well, I think there's an option of not telling the whole truth. And I think there's also a gap in communication,
Yeah,
whether it's intentional or not, between airports and administration. If what they don't know can't hurt them. And I think that all will just fall for a lot of these airports when something happens and you need to call in that insurance.
well,
I-
there's another option, which is to not insure the vehicle and require that the people that rent it from us provide their own insurance.
And then we turn into rent-a-center.
yeah, I don't know whether that would pass muster as far as the state's requirement that the automobile have insurance.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I would bet that there's some sort of exception for this. I mean, there's airport cars all over the state.
I mentioned it to Glenn and I asked Glenn to go get specific information about it, and everybody just says, oh, it's covered under our regular policy. But it's obviously not. So we've got to figure out a little
When
bit.
you
different
say-
to-
Your policy, is this a separate commercial policy or through Maine Municipal?
Well, I started with Maine Municipal. And then I went to act like I was gonna buy insurance as a business or, an individual consumer, and they won't touch it.
Really?
And because I said the airport or the town or whichever entity you need. Obviously it's the same, but for them it might be seen as different. And they won't do it.
Well, what if we formed an LLC? Have that take ownership of the car and buy a policy, it don't cost that much. I mean, if we're talking about a $10,000 car, how much could it be a year?
I think it's the fact that you don't know who the driver is behind the wheel of the car all the time. That's what the implication was from what anybody has told me. Unless you're gonna run a driver's check and this and that, and.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when my girlfriend drives my car, my insurance company doesn't like it, right?
Well,
I have to name in a.
but your insurance policy covers, just like all of our personal insurance policy covers permissive users of our vehicle, so. I just have to believe that there's a way that thing could be insured. Depending on how it's owned. If it's a town vehicle. If it's owned by the town, that's a completely different analysis than if it's owned private. What do you think, Charlie?
Well, I know for sure one thing, and that is that I don't think if we're gonna self-insure. That would be like putting a gigantic target on your back and saying, sue me.
Yeah.
I like the idea of an airport car. I think it would be a wonderful thing. But I don't know I don't know how much risk we want to take to be able to provide that service to people that come into the airport.
Yeah, so I suppose question number one is, do we just call it a dead issue or do we keep working on it? If we're gonna work on it, how are we gonna structure it?
Well, I'd be interested to know if some of these I don't know which airports have airport cars. I know you say that everybody's got them, but I don't know which ones do.
Well,
Does Belfast have one?
there's a lot of that have airport cars.
But I wonder how many there really are. And I wonder how many of them are owned, for instance, by the local FBO. And the FBO is letting people do that as opposed to the airport. If you get an FBO, corporation, what's the name of that big one that is down in Portland? Whatever, if they want to do that, they can put a car under their own policy somehow or another. But, I mean, we don't have that luxury here.
Well, what if we could buy a car for under 10 grand, insure it for less than $1,000 a year?
Okay.
You wanna
We're
do
still
that?
looking for insurance.
Huh?
But we're having trouble finding insurance, right?
Well. The way it's structured now, but if you put the car into an LLC. And. Set it up so it's not owned by the town, owned by individuals. An LLC's got members, you could all be members. And you just go out and buy a commercial insurance policy.
So that means that the people in the LLC would have to come up with the money because the town's not going to fund a private LLC.
Well, private LLC, I just opened one for my practice and it cost me exactly $1,200.
No, it's not that. What I'm saying is the town's not going to fund the purchase of an automobile on behalf of an LLC.
Well, what if we contract with the town to give it back to them and we're no longer using it? So. It seems like there's solutions to all of this. Unless we just don't want to fiddle with having a car at all.
Well, I don't know what people want to do. What people think. I personally do not want to be part of an LLC that owns a lot. I got enough potential liability as it is.
Well, we could make another entity be an insolvent, The town could be the member. And it could still be a separate LLC, it's a separate legal entity.
Next question. Should, but do we realistically see a payoff from this? I get that Glenn goes and has lunch and as courtesy fills up his plate with fuel at a facility offices. But are we going to be able to make back $11,200 in 5 years? Plus insurance, right? That's cost of the vehicle plus your LLC set up. We're gonna make that back in 5 years before this used vehicle craps out. Or is it just providing convenience to somebody who wants to fly in and go for lunch real quick? I don't on the surface see the payoff, and I'm wondering if you guys honestly do too. I get that it would be nice to have, but is it a sunk cost where it's just a nice to have when we are talking over it?
Well, that's the first decision, do we want one or not?
We spend a lot of time on it if we don't.
Yeah.
I get that.
What does everybody else think?
I'm kind of on the fence.
Don't see the value in it. I say keep doing some research, table it, when I'm at other airports, I'll ask, hey, do you got a car? How does it work? What do you do? I just don't know enough. And it doesn't sound like we do either.
I think it's,
How they
I think
do
it's,
it.
enough would be nice to have. But I don't think we've added up all the costs to start with. We have insurance every year. We're gonna have LLC costs every year. So how much is that gonna be in 5 years? That total. It's gonna be 20 grand. We haven't gonna get 20 grand out of somebody who buy a sandwich.
Well, why don't we just table it for now, and I'm a car nut, so I'm constantly car ads and things.
Oh, that's right, we can use your car, so you can.
That's right, you can use mine, you can even have to get one.
Here's the key, go ahead. No, we'll have to keep calling on Brenda, I guess. A moment.
He took somebody up to Bigelow Brewery. a few
Oh,
weeks ago.
really? Did they at least buy you a beer? I hope. All right, courtesy car, we're gonna take no further action on that today. Somebody wants to bring it up at a future meeting, that's fine, but at the moment, we're gonna leave it alone. Okay, I think the biggest thing that we've got to talk about today is number 8, the update on the fuel vending equipment. Richard, what we got here?
What do we got? So the technology that is out there that is sitting in between your two fuel pumps. Costs us about $3,700 a year. In arguably hidden costs to run and maintain. That is what provides us the software, hardware, service support, and that sunset December 31st. So didn't come to my desk until probably December 1st. That this was happening, and so then we go out and we look at all the options that aren't on the market. And most people that are in the market for something like this are larger airports. So everything is expensive. I reached out to Maine Aviation Advisory Board, I think is what they call themselves. They kind of coordinate with DOT, but I stole their distribution list and asked them who you use for providers. Pretty much what came back was 3 of them, and reach out to your fuel vendor to see who they would recommend. So I did all of that. I priced out everything. I looked at our current vendor that's there now. Nobody was familiar with that company. So I'm not sure if they just jumped in on a federal grant back when they were installed initially or what, but we took a look at them and then we got 2 other prices. This Fuel Master system, which is proposed by Adams and Fogg, is the installers, was the low price. The low price is still for the circuit minimum of $20,000. And the last page of that stapled deck shows you this machine and this nice display piece. This does not include the display piece. That's another $3,000 or $4,000. This is just that machine and the software support. We looked at the cost of this, the upfront dump, as well as annual recurring fees. And then we put a lifespan on it of 7 years. Not to be too conservative or too liberal, but the way the technology changes, are we going to be using credit cards in 10 years? I didn't think that was reasonable, but 5, it's not really inflate the cost of this. So I took it to the select board. Sorry, I didn't bring it to you first. I was on the move to get money. But I thought it was more important that we get the plan in place and funding in place. So what this costs, if I look at it over 7 years, an average number of gallons sold is about 25 cents a gallon is what this upfront costs us. Kind of silly, but you have to have it. And then took it to the board. The board decided they were going to allocate $5,000 of local dollars, offset the airport expense. So that is certainly better than nothing, which is where the airport would have been before that. So they pulled that from money that we received as rescue plan money a few years back.
Well, it doesn't seem like we have a choice. The existing software is gonna stop working completely in this coming December.
So no. It's past
This
December.
past December,
So
okay.
we cannot adjust fuel prices. What they are, what they are.
Well, let's talk about that. Yeah, it may not be a bad idea.
We're not able to track sales. We just get lump sum deposits and have to take that they are what they are. Works, but probably won't work too long term. And if anything goes haywire with the software, we're toast. So we have to move. So, they didn't go with a mid-range option or anything that was exceptional. Everything has its ups and its downs.
What about Bruce was talking about this box system that Like, I think Belfast has it, Millinocket has it, and Bethel has it, and a bunch of others. That's the one you say, you thought that maybe there was a big bulk purchase by the feds at some point in time in the past?
Well, I, no, this is, maybe theirs was, I think maybe our old system was.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about it. When I got these folks here that seemed to be the most prominent. They said, well, who do you use now? And I told them, and they're like, oh, where are they out of? And that's not, when you're in this type of business, I feel like he would know. He was, I think, working with QT Pod.
That's the one, yeah.
They have very attractive machines. It looks really nice. The price looked really nice until you ask for the price installed. And then it skyrocketed. It was the most expensive option. Cheap equipment.
So
Is there
we don't really
anybody that
have
has
this, we don't have an option here, do we?
No.
Is there anybody that has this operating?
It's commonplace. I don't know which airports do.
I've seen this quite a few
I
reports.
think Lauderdale has these people, I believe. I'd have to go back and look at my survey of the other airports.
Yeah, I would expect Dexter does too.
No, Dexter's got one of those pods.
Yeah, they are hard, but they have all these machines.
Oh.
Same with
Bethel,
Belfast.
Belfast,
Now they get the pods, but you have this machine. But it's how you.
it's the money thing.
It's separate.
So we don't have to get a pod. We just hook this right up to our tanks.
You can give them a check for $16,000.
The pods are like 1.2 million.
Oh, that included the tanks.
That includes the tank and the pad.
And then they install us a,
For the right price.
1.2.
for, that's what it costs to get this system completely up and running.
The pod, it provides fuel tanks, concrete, fencing, all that stuff. It's 1.2 million. This is 25. This is 20,000.
Okay, got
He's talking a fuel farm. If we wanted to replace what we've got today,
it.
well, today, that was 1.2, 1.5.
And was that one of the things that's on the plan?
Fuel farm is, we've been pushing because the condition of our tanks are not bad. The pumps obviously leave a lot to be desired, but when you do a revenue generating investment, they shut you off on your entitlement money for a couple of years, and we've been willing to furlough that.
I don't know, the pumps that we have now, it's not the pumps, it's the computers that sit outside that charge you how many gallons you use. Do not start up, it's really cold, so we've been having issues. I don't know if that's a lubrication thing or not.
That's not the pump
Pumps inside,
in the tank, yeah, no,
this is the computer outside,
this,
the old fuel pump where the hose comes out
yeah,
and it turns to tell you how many gallons.
that's
Yeah.
not what we.
Yes, well, it will after some period of time, but. We can have pumps. People have not been able to get fuel. And I didn't know if that, he just needs. Penetrating fluid in there or what? But,
Need to be serviced.
yeah, the water service couldn't get fuel. Then somebody came behind him and I was behind them. We finally got it all running and the water service came back, but. It's not.
That's not ideal.
No, I don't know if it's something that would be easily taken care of. Something.
What if we do this also?
No,
No,
It
all
does,
that does is the credit card,
All it does, that's
so this is for no, with no hardware here?
no,
just the stand and you put your credit card. And push to go.
Got it.
So we're gonna require a tail number to set up.
I live does.
Yeah.
Once we use have always required to.
Right.
if it does require somebody, then we'll ask these people to take a look at it when they come up.
That's a pump, not the
Yeah.
Not the pump in the tank, but the pump.
That's a mechanical.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily sure I even want staff to touch that with weights and measures.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah, exactly. It's just an issue I got that,
well, I made a note and I.
yeah, we don't need to wreck it because we don't know.
Well, no, but I don't even want, what do we over lubricate it, and all of a sudden get more gallons than we're supposed to get. I know, it's, but.
where's the can? Where's the can?
Exactly, right?
Well, what do people think, about, going this direction, the town? So the town will, come up with 5,000, the other 15,000 has to come out of the airport's budget.
Well, it'll come out of the airport reserve because the airport doesn't have a budget,
Right.
you operate on an as needed basis. Which. Tends to need more than it has, but, yes, there's money in the reserve for it. I talked initially with the select board about putting in some sort of a figure into what we do for markup to try to get that money back. People take a look at, market rates and things like that. We obviously offer very affordable fuel, relative to other airports, but how much do you take before you stop getting the inbound traffic to keep it?
Right.
And I think we've got to consider that.
Yeah, because we do get a fair number of people that come in, I mean, they'll fly down from Greenville to buy fuel.
I was just gonna say that.
Yes, so,
Right,
We allow that right now, because we don't have. Seems to.
but can I get 15 cents? Or 10,
yeah,
or 5, and I mean, that's all the revenue that comes to the airport that would help.
Yeah.
Some
So,
change.
Yeah.
I know, but
Yeah.
we don't want to get touch either.
in the scheme of things. Well, are you looking for us to take a vote as to whether we support this?
If you can, unfortunately, contract signed and I got two trainings.
So, all those in favor of, going forward?
Retroactive.
So you are, you're authorized to go ahead.
I know it's not ideal, but I figured that time was of the essence and
No, this is great.
it wasn't worth an emergency meeting of you folks to.
If we keep, which we're gonna keep the old pumps, this is gonna take us from dial-up into fiber optic.
To the what Circle K has.
Just like American Express.
So, we don't need this display. But we get the displays off the whole. Right?
Yeah.
Even though that might be a little threat.
Wouldn't that solve your counter problem?
Don't know that,
There's quantity of gallons.
I don't know that.
How much more was that little thing? You know,
It was $3,000.
Like $3 million.
To
If
do
it
what?
if it does away with that. That issue,
$3,000 for what?
you still have to hang. I don't know enough about that.
Yeah.
You can still get that hanging from somewhere.
For this.
Oh. Well, the pumps have like a mechanical display, as long as those work okay. You don't need a screen like that.
yeah, I'm saying it's
I don't
starting
work
to act
with
up,
it.
yeah.
Well, there are businesses that service these pumps.
It's $38.50.
Okay.
Be nice to know if that goes in place.
Good to get the pumps looked at. In case they say. These things are too
There's a
old.
place in Lewiston, Samarna.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
They're pretty old.
we have people come up service.
Okay.
And there may be, if this company, I assume that they do a lot of this stuff, they may have a line on some used old pumps that they've taken out of a gas station.
That are decades newer than what we're in.
Decade, anything is, These came over on the Mayflower.
No, all of those, Charlie, went into people's garages that wanna have a man cave.
Yeah.
These are the ones that I used when I was in high school pumping gas.
Same here, same.
There you go.
So they're.
They're 10,
They're 20 cents a gallon.
That goes.
10, 20, yeah, that's it.
10, 12 years old.
Who here remembers gas at 15 cents a gallon?
Not me.
I remember kerosene at 17 cents. The fuel gas was 27, 29, and 30.
When I was in high school and college, it was like 15, 18 cents a gallon. That was ridiculous.
Cookie's gas station in Waterville sold it for 25 cents a gallon.
Went to 32 cents then. It was pumping.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right, so we're all set on that. When they come up, could we ask them to take a look at those pumps? I keep calling them pumps. They're not the pumps in the tank, but
Computers.
yeah, whatever they are. Mechanical computers. Okay. Other business.
None that I know of.
And Richard, do you have anything?
Nothing that I didn't have. It's just something I haven't gone up for me.
Child. Why am I gonna get with the child?
Oh. Yeah, they are. Do we want to take this back up, or do we want to take this back and read it and then?
Yeah, I wanna take it,
Discuss it next time.
read it, look at it.
All right, we'll take these and we'll look at them. We'll put that on the agenda for next time. That's the least responsibility of hanging on. Get that back on. All right, boy, this was a quick one. Next meeting date. There was some discussion about meeting every other month.
Yes, Don did bring that up.
Yeah,
And you guys can just do side projects, if you want to do some side projects, then report back.
yep.
So does that work okay if we meet here every other month?
And fine with me.
Okay.
So this is February. April. April. Want to set it early in the month?
I don't care,
Mondays?
that's fine.
Monday?
Worse.
Then work. Yeah.
Okay.
Saturday.
Want to do it Monday, the 6th?
At 1 PM or 5 PM.
That's Easter Monday. For those that are interested. So what do we say, April 6th, 1 o'clock here?
Okay.
Perfect. Anything else?
Not for me.
Brenda?
Just a question, back to the courtesy car. Do we have anything listed there for taxis or anything? Or can it be added to the voice message if somebody calls in? Because people have asked me, how do I get somewhere? Is there a taxi service in Skowhegan? And I didn't have time, we didn't have access to look it up. And I didn't know if there's anything that we could have there at the airport for people to reference. I get a ride. Or not?
Or just leave some emergency rations there.
There used to be a enterprise rent-a-car thing there.
I don't know if there's there.
They won't pick you up.
They will not.
They used to be enterprise, they'll pick you up, and they got us out because we're just like a half mile outside the service range for that. And I think they redeveloped that for Skowhegan because of us.
Okay.
When we tried reaching out to Farmington, this is probably 6 or 7 years ago, Farmington refused. We can come up with different options, whether it's a taxi or even a car service. And there's gotta be a couple of car services around that people could. Get in touch with. And we can refer to it on the voicemail.
Mhm.
And then push to website and post in the terminal.
I was just looking to see what would happen if I go to Uber.
Cause the one that I gave a ride to, actually, they wanted to go to Skowhegan. And got to go.
They must, they must be,
To go to-
an answer,
to go.
they never showed up.
Right, they said they had called Uber, and they said there was gonna be somebody there, nobody ever showed up, so I don't think there is any.
They're downtown people. I don't think we need to get an Uber up in this thing.
Yeah.
Well, the Enterprise in Farmington has been out of business.
Well, they did.
Okay. But it would be nice if we had something that we could say to people. Other
Is
than,
there a taxi out of Skowhegan, does anybody know?
Scout Town Taxi, I think.
There is,
Down
okay.
there.
That's why I said maybe a car service would be a good option.
all right. Well, thank you all,
Okay,
we're done.